Hi and welcome to the Tom Did It channel. In this video I'll be stripping the bike down to the bare metal frame, removing the old original white paint and then repainting it using automotive paint to a similar original colour. As usual, along the way I'll be checking the bike's existing hardware to see what can be used and retained in this rebuild series. You can see here that the frame is in pretty bad shape. The black marks that you see on the frame are scorch marks from a blowtorch when I had the bike professionally straightened. Check out my last video if you'd like to see that. You will notice that I have a second pair of hands in this video. At the time of filming, my parents were over from the UK on holiday, so my dad is making a cameo appearance in this one. This Royal Enfield is my dad's latest project. You can see that motorcycles and restoring close to death relics is a hobby that we both enjoy. Do you think the suspension's compressing it?
Yeah, well this is what it is, you see.
Yep.
What is a rock?
Just hold the frame, Dad.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yep.
Pull in this side,
Yep.
tap on this side. That's it.
Right, you've got the wheel.
Yeah, I have.
So with the bike now stripped down, it's time to remove about half a dozen snap bolts that have seized in the frame. If you have done this before, you'll know that there's lots of ways to remove snap bolts. It also depends on how seized they are. I'll show you the various methods we use on this one, and then you'll get the picture for the others. No,
No?
the ends come off.
Yeah.
Bugger. Exactly the same as it felt. It
Yeah.
bloody,
Yeah.
look, still in the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't like the sound of that.
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it let me soak for a bit.
snap that one.
That's quite a lot of pressure I put on there then. No, not doing it.
That's your lot.
Yeah. Now, don't wiggle it side to side like that. It look like you buggered the threads up.
For the next few minutes I'll be showing you the messy job of stripping paint from the frame using regular paint stripper and an old wire brush. I'll be suspending the frame at a convenient height by screwing metal loops onto bolts that are drilled into the concrete ceiling.
Going to sleep again.
Recording.
Hey?
Recording.
Oh.
All in all, the main frame and subframe took about 3 rounds of paint stripper. I think it's just that. As I continue stripping the paint from the subframe, in the background you see my assistant using a brass wire wheel drill attachment to remove the last remaining bits of paint. The wire wheel also removes the burnt scorch marks and creates a bright but slightly scuffed surface, which is ideal for the paint primer to stick to. Of course, this is painstaking work, and it's all about the preparation, so absolutely all the paint needs to be removed, even the small stuff. When you strip the frame down to the bare metal as I have, the hot and humid conditions can cause flash rust, so it's a good idea to apply primer within a few hours. After rinsing the frame with cold water, it's time to wipe it down with wax and grease remover. This is a critical step as paint will not stick to a dirty or oily surface. First I use paper towel, then I go over it with several clean new microfiber cloths. This process gives me a clean and oil-free surface. In this final segment of the video, we paint the frame with this approved Honda paint. The plan is to use 2 cans of white primer filler to start. Wait for it to dry and then gently rub it down if necessary. Then I'll be using 2 cans of Shasta white, code NH138. I read on a forum that this colour is used on the steel frame Honda CRs in the 1990s. The paint supplier was able to find the colour code on their database and mix up a few cans. More on this later. Finally, I'll be applying this 2K clear coat. 2K will provide a somewhat chip resistant and UV protected hard layer over the underlying white paint. The downside is that 2K paints are very toxic and should only be applied in well ventilated areas using the correct safety equipment. I'll leave you to do your own research on the difference between 1K and 2K paints. At the start of this video, I mentioned that I'm spraying this frame in January, which is the middle of the Australian summer, and the temperatures at the moment are around 36 degrees Celsius or 97 Fahrenheit. If you're familiar with spraying things, you'll know that this is too hot, and I was having real problems with applying the primer. Because of the heat, it seems that the primer was drying in the air before it hit the frame. Here's a picture of the first round of primer. It has stuck to the frame well, however it is dried with a kind of sandpaper finish. I'm disappointed with this finish, and my dad said I told you so. I wasn't entirely happy with the first coat of primer, so off camera I decided to sand down the rough areas with wet and dry sandpaper. As heat is the issue here, I decided to cool down the garage to about 20 degrees by using a portable air conditioning unit. I also took an extra step by chilling each spray can in the fridge for 15 minutes before use. This immediately fixed the issues, and the next round of primer was applied with a thick, smooth finish. I'll be sure to do this when spraying the white paint. Of course, I could have edited this mistake out of the video, but I feel it's just as important to share my mistakes, as well as sharing the odd occasion when I do things properly. With the primer coat finished, I report back to the quality inspector.
So carry on doing this one, Matt, if you're happy with it.
Oh, I'm happy here.
Go on, look.
Yeah. I don't know how it's supposed to look. That's not run it, but it looks thick. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like it's about to fall off.
Yeah. Oh, I get on the spread. So just carry on shaking it. Get that down in there and see how it comes out.
I haven't got enough to do that one.
No, you've got to get another.
It's agreed that the primer filler coat has been salvaged and is as good as we're going to get in this hot climate. So moving on, we spray the frame with 2 coats of 1K Shasta white paint. We found the only way to get the paint to settle with a smooth and even thickness is to spray unusually close and go slow. In normal conditions, this would probably cause runs or pooling. However, the hot conditions is causing the paint to dry very fast, so runs are not an issue here.
You're starting to spit and you're at the end of the can, don't do it anymore.
Yeah, 30 minutes later, the paint is almost dried, so now is a good time to apply the first layer of 2K clear coat. As noted before, this 2K will provide a hard resistive layer over the paint and add an additional glossy finish. Pressing the small valve at the bottom of the can releases the hardener. Shake the can for another 2 to 3 minutes and it's ready to use. I'd like to note that the clear coat is thinner than the primer and the paint and was a lot easier to apply. Both the subframe and the main frame were coated. I then applied the second coat approximately 24 hours later. With the spray paint finished, the paper strips protecting the frame numbers can be removed. I clean these up, then apply 2 layers of 2K clear coat. Off camera, we polished up the triple clamps and they are ready to put back on the bike. I'll be keeping the original steering head bearing and races as they clean up well, have no deep grooves and wear marks. Before we wrap up the video, here's a quick snapshot of the painted finish. Given the problems we had at the start with the rough primer finish, I'm quite happy with the final results. That's about it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Well, it should be. He snapped the bloody rivet off up here.